I was a boarder in the old Ateneo in Intramuros at the time of the fire. Father John F. Hurley, our prefect of discipline, came out on the bridge with the Blessed Sacrament to stop the flames from leaping from the school to San Ignacio Church. The bridge ran across the street from the school through the church at the second-story level. Father Hurley stood there in the middle of the bridge, high over the street with the monstrance. The flames were almost touching him, and the wind changed. The flames died down, and the church was saved. We had no class for over a month, and then we moved into the new Ateneo on Padre Faura Street. It used to be San Jose Seminary. They moved the seminarians out, and we moved in. Oh, I'm Rodrigo. Sock Rodrigo.
I am Alfred Jerez Burgos. In 1936, I went to the Ateneo, which was in Intramuros. And we didn't stay there long because of the big fire in Intramuros. We were moved to Padre Faura. I remember very distinctly that the Ateneans were famous for their Ateneo accent. This made them most unpopular with the other schools, including La Salle, where I had come from. They were considered the humbugs, but perhaps later on I reconsidered and felt that Ateneans also felt that they were a little more intellectual because of the Jesuit influence. Ateneo boys were said to be very close to the Assumption girls. Maybe because Assumption was behind Padre Faura, and Ateneo football players used to kick the ball across the wall, if only to get a chance to get into Assumption's hallowed grounds.
I am Father Reuter, Father James B. Reuter of the Society of Jesus. When I was first assigned to the Ateneo de Manila as a young Jesuit scholastic in May of 1941, I was scared stiff. The one who really broke me into the job of teaching was Father Walter Hogan. He had finished 3 years of regency and was waiting for a boat to the United States. He loved the school. My class was sophomore AB. Old Joe Mulry had taught that class as freshman the year before, so I went to Father Mulry for advice. He said,
They are bright. Aurelio Montenola, Johnny Tan, Larry Anaris, Gus Gonzalez, J.V. Cruz, Joe Yulo, Greg Anonis, Mariano Laurel, Joe Abreu, Monty Lannon, but they have all ants in their pants. They can't sit still. You have to keep the class moving. Something doing all the time. You have to shoot yourself out of a cannon.
His last words to me were,
Get in there and learn as much as you can from them.
I think that this was the best advice that could ever be given to a young teacher. To me, old Joe Mulry was a symbol of the Ateneo Jesuit professor. He loved his students, and they loved him.
He gave me my name. I was in his class, and I was always asking questions. One day he said to me,
You know your name should not be Francisco Rodrigo. You operate by the Socratic method, always asking questions. Your name should be Socrates.
On that day, I became Sock Rodrigo. And do you know, the name has stayed with me for 44 years.
With your battle spirits into flame and spirit warriors on the blue and white. On the scroll asunder, victory for blue and white.
The words of that song, the Ateneo Battle Song, were written by Skisix, Horacio de la Costa. I remember Skisix defending the whole scholastic philosophy at the age of 18 when he graduated from college, and then entering the Society of Jesus. We used to visit him at the Sacred Heart Novitiate in Novaliches, and then he was writing for radio, the Commonweal Hour. We were on the air for 2 hours every Sunday night, from 7 to 8 in English, and then from 8 to 9 in Tagalog. Leone Guerrero, Jess Paredes, Narciso Pimentel, Manny Colaico, Jose Panganiban, Lucas Paredes, Raul Manglapus. Those were the days. It was Raul Manglapus who wrote,
E-L-U-E-E-A-G-L-E, Blue Eagle, Blue Eagle, Blue Eagle, the king! Blue Eagle fly and carry a fly across the sky. Cast your shadow below, swoop down on the foe, and sweep up the fields away. Fly high over the trees, make known through the breeze our victory. Spread wide its wing, for you are the king, Blue Eagle, the king. Oh, the eagle's the king of them all, and his root never will fall. For the blue and the white and the eagle in fight, Ateneo will fight today. Fly high over the trees, make known through the breeze our victory. Spread wide its wing, for you are the king, Blue Eagle, the king.
The first time that I heard that song was in the old wooden gym at Padre Faura. The players on the basketball team at that time were Simon Lao, Eduardo Cortez, Bobby Jones, Cuervo, Pertiera, Esteva, the Montenegro brothers, Claustro Verona, Wonder Boy Hampton, and Fermin Fernando, the Black Panther from Zamboanga. In those days, the team was notorious for winning by 1 point in the last moment of play. It was the Hail Mary team. I directed the school play that year, Who Ride on White Horses. One of our handsome young actors, playing a young English lord, the companion of Queen Elizabeth, was Dick Puno. Queen Elizabeth was Haji Callow. The boys played girls in those days. But Haji was so good as Queen Elizabeth that after the show, members of the Manila Theater Guild came backstage to get him to play the feminine lead in their next play. They could not believe that Haji was a boy. We had other boys who were magnificent in the role of girls. Teddy Evangelista as Lady Macbeth, Bert Avellana as Portia, Onofre Pogsanhan as Ophelia in Hamlet. The cast of Who Ride on White Horses was strong. Jerry Rojas, Jerry Montemayor, Renato Arevalo, Tony De Hoya, Jess Hoxson, Basilio King, Aurelio Montenola, Johnny Tan, Jose Abreu, Monty Lannon, Larry Henarez, and J.V. Cruz. The star was Luis Pimentel. In the last days of rehearsal, he was coming in from Florida Blanca in uniform because he was already in the army. He was in the death march from Bataan and died the next year in the prison camp at Capas. We had a prayer that we used to say in the old Ateneo.
Dear Lord, in the battle that goes on through life, I ask but a field that is fair, a chance that is equal with all in the strife, and courage to strive and to dare. If I should win, let it be by the code, with my faith and my honor held high. And if I should lose, let me stand by the road and cheer as the winner goes by.
When you get out of school and the years go by, you begin to realize what that prayer means. In the year that I first came to the Ateneo, 1941, our football team was undefeated, untied, and unscored upon. The cheerleaders, as I remember, were Alex Ontiveros, Pancho Magalona, and Greg Anona. The goalie was my stage manager, Satur Velasco. He was a nervous goalie, but they never got the ball past him. The left halfback was from my class, Ramon Cabrera. He was small, but tough. The coach was Arsenio Laxon. Laxon said once,
"Whenever Cabrera is knocked down, I watch him very closely. If, when he gets up off the ground, he is smiling, he's hurt."
In 1941, on December the 7th, we played LaSalle for the NCAA football championship.
Ready on the right, yay! Ready on the left, yay! Rest, LaSalle, time, LaSalle, ready, aim, fire, boom, 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 ra-ra-ra, boom, boom, sismama, boom, boom, ra-ra-ra, boom, boom, sismama.
It was a tough game. The Ateneo team was half LaSalle, Pertiera, Esteva, Velasco, 2 Laxons. But the star that day was the smallest of all the players who had been Ateneo since birth, Simon Lao. With minutes to go in the last period, Simon Lao kicked in the winning goal from far out with his left foot. He kicked it past Louis Havillon, who at that time was the goalie for LaSalle. We won the NCAA football championship from LaSalle by a score of 1-0, and the next day the war broke.
I reported to the ROTC office in the Ateneo. I was Master Sergeant Alfred Jerez Burgos, an elder Ateneo ROTC graduate. In spite of the fact that there was no call for the Ateneo ROTC cadets to report to the military, a large number of them reported and volunteered for service to the cause of their country. On the Ateneo parade ground, they began serious training for war, crawling on their bellies, even learning how to throw hand grenades. A few days before Christmas, President Quezon ordered the disbandment of the ROTC units. But 33 Ateneo ROTC cadets refused to be denied the right to serve their country. They all found themselves joining other ROTC units from other schools who felt like they did, banding together on a way to Bataan. ready for that last-ditch battle against the enemy. But on April 9th, Bataan surrendered. There was the death march. Ateneo volunteers still stuck together. At Capas, they helped each other. Many were inflicted with beriberi and malaria. Because of the high death toll, the Japanese decided to release prisoners. Again, Ateneans refused to end the fight. Many went underground. This was a different kind of victory that they were fighting for.
Ramon Cabrera married, and his wife was going to have a baby. But the Japanese picked him up and brought him into Fort Santiago. Arsenio Lacson, the football coach, did all that he could to reach Ramon in prison.
They wanted Mon to give the names of all those who were with him in the underground. He would not give the names, so they beat him in the mouth with a gun butt, trying to make him talk. They smashed his jaw and broke most of his teeth and his nose, but he would not give the names. This made the Japanese very angry, and they bayoneted him. But even when he was dead, you could tell who was the winner.
With a shout, with a song, we will help the boys along.
After the war in the new Ateneo campus at Loyola Heights, there were different athletes and different cheerleaders, but the same spirit. One of our best athletes was Chole Gaston. In training with the Philippine Air Force, Chole won all the medals except one, 7 out of 8. When he was killed in air maneuvers, his mother wept at the communion rail every morning for a full year. The family lived near the gate at Loyola Heights, and she went to Mass each morning in the college chapel. That's a strange thing. The old Ateneo was a boys' school, but it seemed to be more romantic, somehow, when it was a boys' school than when it became co-ed.
The most important thing about our education in the Ateneo was this. It was balanced. You take Edo Campo. He was just one of us, one of the gang. He was never recruited as an athlete. He came to Ateneo just like the rest of us, to learn. And he became Mr. Football, and then Mr. Basketball. He played in 4 Olympics. But what I remember most about him was the championship game against Mapua. It was a wild game, and one of their players lost his head. He punched Ed Ocampo in the mouth and knocked him down. Ed was on the floor of Rizal Memorial Stadium, bleeding at the mouth. He got up, walked over to the player who had just hit him, and shook his hand. That night, I was proud of Ed, and proud of the Ateneo.
Cheer and go. With heart and hand, our loyal band will battle through. Team forward, team. We lift our cry up to the sky and we will thunder, rock, rock. Onward and smile. We'll sing the while. We're marching on, on, on. Ateneo go. We'll fight for victory. We'll cheer the battle's on. Sky and we will thunder, rock, rock. Onward and smile, we'll sing the while. We're marching on, on. Ateneo go. We'll fight for victory, we'll cheer the battles on.
That song was written, words and music, by one of the outstanding moving picture directors in the country, Lamberto V. Avellana, Ateneo AB, 1937.
I wrote that song when I was in college. After graduation, I went into the moving picture business and won several important awards in the process. I might mention in passing that I have also been named the National Artist for Theater and Film. And I think that this is due in a great way to the training that I received at the Ateneo under Father Henry Lee Irwin, and who can forget him?
I'm Vic Silayan, professional actor. I got my first lessons on the stage in grade school, through high school, till I got my AB, all at the Ateneo, where I learned to give whatever I'm doing all I've got. It took more than 2 decades before I got my first major recognition. But when it started, it came. Best Actor from the critics, the Manunuri twice, the Metro Manila Film Festival, and then the one that means most to me, the Catholic Mass Media Awards for Best Performer. I thank the Ateneo for all that.
For deep full life to see God's truth as it was seen by thee. We beg for grace to be fit soldiers of the company.
This is a song that was written during World War II in the Ateneo campus on Padre Faura Street. It was written by a young Jesuit scholastic, Vicente Marasigan. Many of the Jesuits who first sang this song are dead. Ricardo Pimentel, who died of shrapnel through the head just outside of the old auditorium on Padre Faura. Abrohina, who was bayoneted by the Japanese and his body thrown into the flames of the burning cathedral at Lipa. Francis Lopez, who was shot in the back by a sniper when he was bringing bandages to the nuns over the wall that separated Ateneo from Assumption. Big Ed McGinty, who died of malnutrition during the last days of the war. Old Joe Mulry, who died in the prison camp at Los Baños. Big Mike Cashman, who died of cancer of the lymph gland 6 months after the war. Charlie Riley, who died of heart failure because of the strain of the war years. The men are gone, but their spirit lives on. It is the spirit of the Ateneo, strong with the strength of God.